betrayal, forbidden passion, the moment everything changes. Cinema has long been fascinated with infidelity, exploring how a single choice can unravel marriages, destroy families, and sometimes lead to violence. Today, we're counting down 12 films that examine cheating from every angle, from tragic romances to psychological thrillers. Let's get into it. Number 12, The English Patient, 1996. Anthony Minghella's sweeping epic won 9 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and delivers one of cinema's most passionate forbidden romances. Ralph Fiennes plays Count Almasi, a Hungarian cartographer working in the North African desert before World War II. He meets Catherine Clifton, the intelligent and beautiful wife of a colleague who has just joined their expedition. Kristen Scott Thomas brings Catherine to life with fierce intelligence and suppressed longing. What begins as intellectual connection deepens into consuming obsession. Their affair unfolds in stolen moments against vast desert landscapes, the physical beauty of their surroundings contrasting with the ugliness of their betrayal. The consequences prove catastrophic, leading to death and disfigurement that haunts Almasi for years. The film understands that some loves burn so intensely they destroy everything they touch. Number 11, Eyes Wide Shut, 1999. Stanley Kubrick's final film remains one of cinema's most enigmatic explorations of jealousy and desire. Tom Cruise plays Dr. Bill Harford, a successful Manhattan physician whose comfortable marriage is shattered by a single conversation. His wife Alice, played by Nicole Kidman, confesses that she once fantasized about leaving him for a naval officer she glimpsed at a hotel. She never acted on the fantasy, but her admission sends Bill spiraling into a night-long odyssey through New York's sexual underworld. The film blurs the line between dream and reality as Bill encounters increasingly bizarre situations, from a secret society's masked orgy to dangerous encounters that may or may not be coincidental. Kubrick suggests that the affairs we imagine can be as destructive as the ones we actually have. The film asks whether any marriage can survive complete honesty about desire. Number 10, A Royal Affair, 2012. This gorgeous Danish historical drama tells the true story of one of European history's most consequential love triangles. Alicia Vikander plays Caroline Matilda, a young English princess married off to Christian VII of Denmark, a mentally unstable king incapable of genuine connection. Into their court comes Johann Struensee, a progressive German physician played by Mads Mikkelsen, hired to treat the king. Caroline and Johann begin a passionate affair that becomes something more than personal betrayal. Using their influence over the malleable king, the lovers implement sweeping Enlightenment reforms, abolishing torture, establishing freedom of the press, ending serfdom. Their relationship transforms a nation, but political enemies eventually use their adultery to destroy them both. A Royal Affair examines how private passion and public consequence intertwine, suggesting that sometimes the most significant affairs change more than just the people involved. Number 9, Gone Girl, 2014. David Fincher adapted Gillian Flynn's bestseller into a razor-sharp thriller that uses infidelity as the spark for something far more sinister. Ben Affleck plays Nick Dunn, whose wife Amy, played by Rosamund Pike in an Oscar-nominated performance, disappears on their 5th wedding anniversary. As media scrutiny intensifies, Nick's affair with a young student comes to light, making him the prime suspect in what looks increasingly like murder. But the film has revelations in store that transform everything we think we know. Pike's Amy becomes one of cinema's most chilling portraits of vengeance, a woman who weaponizes her husband's betrayal in ways that go far beyond leaving him. Gone Girl suggests that in some marriages, infidelity isn't the worst sin. It's merely the excuse for something darker that was waiting to emerge. Number 8, Little Children, 2006. Todd Field directed this acerbic examination of suburban discontent and the affairs people use to escape it. Kate Winslet plays Sarah Pierce, a former academic now trapped in a loveless marriage to a husband more interested in internet pornography than her. Patrick Wilson is Brad Adamson, a failed bar candidate married to a documentary filmmaker who treats him with barely concealed contempt. They meet at a playground, two unhappy parents surrounded by mothers they can't stand, and recognize something desperate in each other. Their affair begins as rebellion against the suffocating expectations of suburban parenthood. They fantasize about running away together, starting over, becoming the people they imagined they'd be. Little Children understands that affairs often aren't really about the other person. They're about escaping the version of yourself you've become. Number 7, Match Point, 2005. Woody Allen crafted this cold-blooded thriller about ambition, luck, and the moral compromises people make to protect their position. Jonathan Rhys-Meyers plays Chris Wilton, a former tennis pro who parlays a job at an exclusive London club into marriage with a wealthy heiress. His comfortable new life is threatened when he becomes obsessed with Nola Rice, an American actress played by Scarlett Johansson who is engaged to his brother-in-law. Their affair is passionate, but reckless, and when Nola becomes pregnant and demands Chris leave his wife, he faces an impossible choice. Matchpoint diverges sharply from typical infidelity dramas by refusing moral judgment. The film suggests that consequences follow not from cosmic justice, but from luck alone. Chris isn't punished for his sins because the universe doesn't care about sin. It only cares about probability. Number 6. Brokeback Mountain, 2005. Ang Lee's landmark film reframed the infidelity drama through the lens of forbidden love between two men in mid-century America. Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal play Ennis Del Mar and Jack Twist, young cowboys who develop an intense romantic relationship while herding sheep in Wyoming in 1963. Both men marry women and attempt to live conventional lives, but they continue meeting secretly over the next 20 years, unable to quit each other despite the danger. Their wives eventually discover the truth, and Michelle Williams delivers devastating work as Ennis's wife Alma, watching her marriage dissolve while powerless to compete with something she barely understands. Brokeback Mountain examines infidelity through the tragedy of men born into a world that won't allow them to be who they are. Their betrayal of their wives is also a betrayal of themselves. Number 5. The Bridges of Madison County, 1995. Clint Eastwood directed and starred in this adaptation of Robert James Waller's bestseller, creating one of cinema's most emotionally devastating portraits of love found too late. Meryl Streep plays Francesca Johnson, an Italian-born housewife living on an Iowa farm, content but unfulfilled in her marriage. When her husband and children leave for a state fair, she meets Robert Kincaid, a National Geographic photographer played by Eastwood, who is shooting the covered bridges of Madison County. Over 4 days, they fall deeply in love. The film earns its emotional power through restraint rather than melodrama. Streep and Eastwood convey decades of longing in glances and silences. When Francesca must choose between Robert and her family, the scene of her sitting in the truck, hand on the door handle, rain pouring down, becomes almost unbearable. The Bridges of Madison County understands that sometimes doing the right thing breaks your heart forever. Number 4. Closer, 2004. Mike Nichols directed this brutal adaptation of Patrick Marber's play about 4 people who hurt each other through sex and honesty. Julia Roberts, Jude Law, Natalie Portman, and Clive Owen play 2 couples whose lives become entangled through serial infidelity over several years. The film unfolds almost entirely in confrontational 2-person scenes where characters confess affairs, demand details, and weaponize truth against each other. Owen, who won a Golden Globe and earned an Oscar nomination, delivers a searing performance as a dermatologist whose obsessive need to know exactly what his wife did with another man becomes a form of self-torture. Closer suggests that infidelity's damage comes not just from the betrayal itself, but from the conversations that follow. Sometimes the cruelest thing you can do is tell someone exactly what they want to know. Number 3. Fatal Attraction, 1987. Adrian Lyne's cultural phenomenon defined the erotic thriller genre and became a genuine social event that changed how audiences thought about infidelity. Michael Douglas plays Dan Gallagher, a successful Manhattan lawyer who has a weekend affair with Alex Forrest, a book editor played by Glenn Close, while his wife and daughter are away. Dan considers it meaningless, a moment of weakness quickly forgotten. Alex disagrees violently. What follows is an escalating nightmare of obsession, harassment, and violence that transformed a cautionary tale into genuine horror. Close earned an Oscar nomination for bringing unexpected pathos to Alex, even as her behavior becomes monstrous. The film tapped into real anxieties about the consequences of casual sex and became the highest-grossing film of 1987. Fatal Attraction made generations of viewers think twice before betraying their spouses. Number 2. Unfaithful, 2002. Adrian Lyne returned to infidelity territory with this erotic thriller that provides a worthy companion to Fatal Attraction while inverting its perspective. Diane Lane earned an Oscar nomination for her portrayal of Connie Sumner, a happily married suburban wife whose life changes after a chance encounter with a young French book dealer, played by Olivier Martinez, on a windy Manhattan street. Their affair begins almost accidentally and quickly becomes an addiction Connie can't control. Lane's performance captures the intoxicating rush of transgression, the terror of almost being caught, and the guilt that poisons everything. Richard Gere plays her husband Edward, whose investigation into her behavior leads to consequences neither expected. Where Fatal Attraction presented the affair from the cheating man's perspective, Unfaithful centers the cheating woman, exploring desire and self-destruction with empathy rather than judgment. Number 1. In the Mood for Love, 2000. Wong Kar-wai's masterpiece stands as perhaps the most beautiful film ever made about infidelity, and it's about an affair that never happens. Tony Leung and Maggie Cheung play neighbors in 1962 Hong Kong, who gradually realize their respective spouses are having an affair with each other. Thrown together by circumstance, they develop an intense emotional connection, but vow not to become like the people who betrayed them. What follows is a study in longing and restraint. Wong shoots their encounters through doorways and windows, in narrow corridors and cramped stairwells, suggesting lives constrained by social expectation. Christopher Doyle's cinematography renders every frame painterly. The score, built around a haunting waltz, returns obsessively like memory itself. The film suggests that the affair we don't have can be as devastating as the one we do. Some moments of connection remain suspended forever, perfect because they were never completed, tragic for exactly the same reason. And there you have it, 12 films that explore infidelity in all its complexity, from the thrilling to the tragic, from cautionary tales to sympathetic portraits of people making impossible choices. What unites these films is their refusal to simplify. Betrayal, they suggest, is rarely about simple villainy. It's about loneliness, desperation, desire, and the gap between the lives we have and the lives we imagined. Which of these films hit hardest for you? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Until next time, keep watching.